All right, Shalom. Giving all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rachak, Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations unto the four like tabernacle of David that are scattered across the four corners of the earth. Now, the Spirit just hopped on me to do a lesson as I was watching the elder Ariala down in Dallas. He was just going live. And I was going into, how this devil's going to try to, stage a so-called alien invasion, using this Project Bluebeam holographic technology, which is something that we kind of talked about briefly throughout the years. We didn't, do, entire lives and whole breakdowns on it, but we've always, talked about, this devil attempting in this particular fashion to deceive the world. And he has the means and he has the technology. Just to quote what we always quote from Apostle Paul, Ephesians 6, he basically said to, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might, and, put on the whole armor of the Most High that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. And we know that, his wiles is talking about his tricks, tricks that he keep up his sleeve, to keep the masses deceived, distracted, convinced, persuaded. All right. And he uses news media as a means to keep these people under a psychological trap. And he also has technology. All right. Now, this devil, we know that his time is short. So he's gonna pull no punches. He's gonna basically come with everything that he got. So we got to definitely be on alert and like the scriptures say, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. And we understand that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities. And that's the hierarchy of, spirits, dealing with demons and, energy coming from that left hand dark force. And Esau, that's his realm. That's what he taps into. All right. He deals with the left hand force. Okay. And that's how they have the power that they have. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world and spiritual wickedness in high places. All right. So, in this lesson, I'm gonna just show how, this devil is gonna try to, come with it, and he wants the world to be totally convinced that he's the Most High on earth. All right. And this is one of the ways that the Most High is gonna, use him to flex his power, to show the world that, there is no God with him, or there's no God but Yahweh. Okay. So without further ado, this is from the Corbeil report, and this was back in 2015. All right. How to fake an alien invasion, and that seems to be on the agenda now, with all this coverage of, the UAPs, the UFOs, how the government is constantly, the Congress, they're withholding information from the public. They're trying to put the world under fear, of some outside force, coming, from a different dimension, which, we understand that, according to the scriptures, we know how the Lord is going to return. He's going to come back with the host of heaven. But Esau wants to try to get ahead of that and to, frame a false narrative, concerning what those beings are in the other dimensions. We know them as the angels of the Lord. All right. Because you got more people tapping into the book of Ezekiel and other books, after listening to the servants, the prophets. All right. Because the word is going out, man. His word is definitely being effective all throughout the planet. So more and more people are starting to see certain things. But this devil, he's still trying to pull the wool over everybody's eyes. All right. But as it says in Job 13, you are forgers of lies, physicians of no value. All right. So let's get into it and watch.
Lazarsfeld saw the event as especially noteworthy and immediately asked Stanton for CBS funds to investigate reaction to what at the time was the largest immediate act of mass persuasion in human history. Over the next several months, interviews with War of the Worlds listeners was collected, provided to Stanton at CBS, and subsequently analyzed in Cantrell's 1940 study, The Invasion from Mars, a study in the psychology of panic.
So this was another psychological operation back then. And they used the radio broadcasts because that was what they had, back then. This was in the late 1930s. So you had the printing press and you had radio, okay? And I looked it up. The War of the Worlds report, 1938, and this is what it says. It says in 1938, Orson Welles, as part of his radio series, The Mercury Theater, on the air, broadcast a dramatization of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, which they did a movie series off of that, which due to its realistic pre-sensation as a series of breaking news bulletins, caused widespread panic among some listeners who believed a Martian invasion was actually happening, particularly in New Jersey, where the fictional invasion was said to be taking place. This event is now famously known as the War of the Worlds radio broadcast. And interestingly enough, this was said to have been taking place in New Jersey, which is the exact place where they recently were showing this so-called phenomenon of these orbs and these drones. They were spotting all these drones over New Jersey and had the people panicking, nationwide. It was the spread of widespread panic all throughout the country, and this was happening in New Jersey. So it's like they ran the same psyop, but now this time they have the holographic technology where they can actually make it appear like it's realistic, like it's real. And we're not saying that the chariot sightings that we be seeing aren't real, but Esau, he now has the technology to now simulate that. All right, he can do his own version of the chariots coming down. All right, so this man, this is him, coming with that left hand power, man. Like it tells us in Micah the 2nd chapter, when the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. All right. So this is what they're doing on the left hand right now, and they know in order the best way to control the people is to keep the people psychologically at bay and in fear. Because when people are in fear, they're in desperate need of protection. They're going to want some kind of protection and oversight when they think that, something is, hunting them, or when they're in fear of, harm or whatever the case may be. And this is their way of being able to come in to further establish their new world order and take full control. They always need a public scare, something to keep the people in fear so that the people will comply. They did it in 2020, and then they can do it with this. This is all part of the psychological operation. And that's why we always quote 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we're not ignorant of his devices. So they ran this mind game on the world. All right, going back almost 100 years ago. Okay, so this devil's going by the same playbook, and this is what they're planning on doing. Okay, so let's listen to some more of this.
End quote. A fascinating little tidbit from history, I trust that you'll agree, and if you do, I hope you'll go and follow the link in the show notes to that original article so you can continue reading about Hadley Cantrell's adventures providing studies and information about psychological persuasion to the Rockefeller Foundation, and how that developed and contributed towards psychological warfare techniques for the U.S. Army and things of that nature. But, again, I think it is interesting to see this confluence of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds becoming a radio dramatization, which incites this mass panic, the largest immediate act of mass persuasion in human history, that is then studied by the Princeton Radio Project, backed up by the Rockefeller Foundation. But you could argue that that's a tangential connection or just a coincidental connection, that this doesn't mean that the Rockefellers are interested in mass persuasion in terms of alien invasion per se. It's just that that was the immediate causal, proximate cause of this particular study. So you might fruitfully ask, are there any other connections between Rockefellers and this idea of faking an alien invasion or an alien presence of some sort? And the answer is yes. Yes, there is such evidence.
Mr. Rockefeller backed many UFO-related projects in the period between the late 80s and 2000. But for the purpose of this hearing, we will concentrate on his political initiatives in these areas. Lawrence Rockefeller's first forays into ufology started sometime in the late 80s through Dr. Cecil B. Scott Jones, a parapsychologist and former U.S. Navy commander who had worked as naval attaché in Asia and at the Naval Scientific and Technical Intelligence Center. Between 1985 and 1991, Jones was special assistant to Senator Claiborne Pell, the powerful Rhode Island Democrat chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, who was deeply interested in parapsychology and who probably many of you met personally. Senator Pell was also friends with Lawrence Rockefeller, and both served on the board of the Human Potential Foundation, a small think tank launched in 1989 in Vienna, Virginia by Jones to conduct, quote, research into all conditions of humankind, physiological, psychological, and spiritual. Many of
And hey, the war is for your is for your spirit, man. This is mental, psychological, spiritual warfare. All right, and that's why we have to, keep the whole armor upon us. Put on the whole armor of the Most High that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Okay, because a lot of these people in this world, they're easily persuaded. Okay, because they don't have that covering, they don't have the eye salve. All right, ultimately they're not of the chosen. So a lot of these people are going to be victims of this man's great deception. It's all psychological, and matter of fact, the effect that they would have, all right, through the use of this left hand power. It said that these people will be given over to strong delusion, that they will believe in the lie. This is 2 Thessalonians 2:9. And it reads, even him whose coming is after the working of Shaitan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. All right, and this technology that they're describing, that's part of his lying wonders. Anything that's holographic is made to appear like it's realistic. All right, but it's nothing but just a projection, of images. Okay. So a lot of people are going to be convinced because they can actually see it. People believe what they see. Okay. It says, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth. These people are constantly being warned in their mind because of the mind programming. It'll be quickly dismissed as conspiracy theories. We're not to believe conspiracy theories, fake news if it's not verified by the fact checkers on Google. Then it's not facts. It's not real. And this man, he's programmed to lie to you. All right. That's why he was able to convince the world that some invisible virus was able to catch you, and with a 99 or 98% survival rate, if you didn't get those jump shots, and if you didn't get your boosters, then you can drop. But there were people who didn't take it at all and were exposed to it all and didn't drop at all. But he had the world convinced. Had all these people lined up, pulling their sleeves up. And if you said anything against it, people, they looked at you like you was a bioterrorist or something. And then this devil, with the snap of a finger, said, all right, it's over with. And then everything just went back to, that's the type of effect that they have on the world. You have people promoting it and gaslighting people who didn't take it, that later down the line ended up dropping dead to certain heart conditions. So they themselves died being deceived after deceiving other people. So why would you still trust this devil, man? Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness, right? But this is what it's saying. This is what happened to the people. It says, for this cause the Most High shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie. All right. And, that's dealing with, these psychological operations that, put these people under strong delusion. Let's look up delusion. It says a belief or altered reality that is persistently held despite evidence or agreement to the contrary, generally in reference to a mental disorder. Okay. Delusion implies an inability to distinguish between what is real and what only seems to be real, often as the result of a disordered state of mind. And that's the condition that this devil will have the world up under, through his artificial intelligence technology. Okay. It says that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Okay. So they were having a hearing on this whole thing. They've been talking about this. This is why your president's been, making references, to this whole phenomenon. You always hear the most famous one from Ronald Reagan. All right. Because they all are in the know. And they try to hide it. Well, the Lord said, woe to them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord. Because everything is going to be brought out anyway. We in that time. Knowledge shall be increased. All right. So anyway, let me see something. This was a pretty good watch. I think I shared it with a few brothers. But let me see. Let me see.
Whatever it may be. But as I say, there are reasons why this might be done, and these aren't reasons that we have to speculate on. We can find all of the usual suspects talking about these reasons in all of the usual places, and of course, the big ones, global religion, global finance, and global government, uniting the world around this perceived alien threat.
Because they always talk about us when Ronald Reagan said putting away their differences to fight, this common enemy from the outside world. Maybe this will cause everybody to, come together as one, fulfilling their so-called New World Order agenda. And that's the wicked boasting of his heart's desire. Was that Psalms 10? So it would make sense for them to actually stage something like this just for that cause. Have everybody on the verge of complying because out of fear. All right. Psalms 10 and 3, it says, "For the wicked boasts of his heart's desire, and blesses the covetous, whom the Lord abhorreth." All right, the wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not at all in his thoughts. And that's why he has the God complex of thinking that he is the Most High. All right, was that 2 Thessalonians? Let's go back to 2 Thessalonians 2. And it says, verse 3, it says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition." All right, and he's being revealed right now. We're in that time. "Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God." And this is what we're witnessing, okay? So, y'all can, I'll put a link to this video. This is on BitChute in the description, all right? Now, I want to go to the other video, and this was the video that the elder Ariella was playing in his video, right? And this is from Mark Dice, and this is from 11 years ago. So they've been, going into this, all right? So let's play some of this real quick.
The plan to stage or fake an alien invasion, or even the return of Jesus or the appearance of God here on planet Earth. Not only do they have the plan, but they've actually considered putting it into use on several occasions.
Now remember, even Yahushua, he made mention and warned that there would be false prophets and false messiahs that would arise in the last days, and they would even show great signs and wonders. This is Matthew 24 and 24. And it says, "For there shall arise false anointeds and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect." So the Lord gave a serious warning, going back, almost 2,000 years ago. All right. So people are going to be acting like they're the Messiah. They're going to come with that, charisma, and they're going to have the gift of gab of knowing how to speak. So you're going to have actual people, all right, who's going to have that Messiah-like complex. And then you're going to have this holographic staging of a false anointed, showing up, or, they can make it the alien thing. All that is deception. Okay. It's going to be nothing but a evil force from the left hand at play, in operation. The Lord basically said back then that's going to be cap. Don't believe it. "Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning cometh out of the east and shineth unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." And we know the way the Lord left is the way he's coming back. He's coming back in the chariot, in that cloud, and he's coming with all those angels. Okay. And that's not going to be faked. We're going to know. There's going to be a big difference. He's going to come and zap people to dust. So we're going to know if these things, the things that we know concerning the deliverance that's written in the scriptures, if we don't see that play out, then that's when we're going to know, all right, this shit is this is Satan. Okay. While the world is going to be, bamboozled, they're going to be perplexed. They're going to be trying to, seek answers. And a lot of people are going to be deceived. This is how you get people to be convinced. Okay. So let's go to this real quick.
Washington Post actually published an article years ago about how the military had considered staging the appearance of God in Iraq during the first Gulf War in order to trick the Iraqis into believing that God had appeared and that he was talking to them, urging them to overthrow Saddam Hussein. They also considered doing the same tactic to overthrow Fidel Castro in Cuba. It's called Project Bluebeam, and through using several holographic devices and the microwave hearing effect, or the radio frequency hearing effect, they were going to beam God's voice into people's heads and make them believe that they were seeing and hearing God himself, who would then urge them to overthrow the dictator. Sound too crazy to be true?
Now, that technology is making me think about one of the things that the Lord did when he was punishing those Egyptians. The scriptures is on point. Esau is really trying to be like the Most High. He even wants that fear. He wants the way we're to fear the Most High. He wants the world to fear him in the same regard, right? When you read that account, it's in Wisdom of Solomon. Matter of fact, I'll actually go to it. When you go to this account, it gives a more detailed description of what the Lord did when he was punishing those Egyptians, when he was plaguing them. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon 17. All right. And this is what the Lord did. All right. The technology that's being described there that this government has a patent on, the Most High was actually doing the similar thing to the Egyptians. All right. And this was all of the Lord's right hand. Okay. And he put so much fear in those Egyptians. All right. So this is Wisdom of Solomon 17. It says, "For great are thy judgments and cannot be expressed. Therefore unnurtured souls have erred. For when unrighteous men thought to oppress the holy nation, the Egyptians, they being shut up in their houses, the prisoners of darkness, fettered with the bonds of a long night." This is when the Lord plagued them with darkness for what, 3 days? 3 days and nights. It says, "Lay there exiled from the external providence. For while they supposed to lie hid in their secret sins, they were scattered under a dark veil of forgetfulness, being horribly astonished and troubled with strange apparitions." And you know, seeing that back then when there was no technology like we have today, where you could project holographic images, the Lord was actually showing ghost-like appearances and figures of different things to those Egyptians while he had it pitch dark. So that basically that's all they can really see. And that bugged those them Hamites was getting bugged out, man. They was horrified. So they looking at these strange apparitions. This is a strange wonder back then that the Lord was doing. This is how the Lord gained his reputation. All right. And it became widespread throughout the nations of what the Lord did. He says, "For neither might the corner that held them keep them from fear, but noises as of water falling down sounded about them, and sad visions appeared unto them with heavy countenances." So not only were they seeing holographic images of you know, people with sad faces, and now there was also hearing in surround sound. They was hearing it basically in their eardrum, the noises of water basically splashing down like a waterfall, you know, or the sound of a tsunami wave. So this was torment. And they were definitely, those Egyptians were convinced that these things that they were hearing and seeing were real. They were realistic to them. All right. So Esau is like, he's trying to mimic, you know, that same level of power on the left hand through his technology. And that's what that made me think of. The fact that he's going to be able to show displays of chariots in the sky, or whatever he's going to try to showcase in the sky to mimic the appearance of the Lord, is more than likely going to be Chesrei. I doubt that they are going to depict Yahushai up there. It's going to be Chesrei, and we're going to know off the rip. This is it. This is him staging, that fake invasion, man. So we're not going to be the elect are not going to be deceived. All right. But the fact that they're going to be able to use microwave, let me go back to what Mark Dice said about how they're going to use sound. So it's going to seem like what you're seeing is also what you're hearing.
To them, the appearance of God in Iraq during the first Gulf War in order to trick the Iraqis into believing that God had appeared and that he was talking to them, urging them to overthrow Saddam Hussein. They also considered doing the same tactic to overthrow Fidel Castro in Cuba. It's called Project Bluebeam, and through using several holographic devices and the microwave hearing effect, or the radio frequency hearing effect, they were going to beam God's voice into people's heads and make them believe that they were seeing and hearing God himself, who would then urge them to overthrow the dictator.
See that? So this is him trying to be like the Most High, okay? So he can make certain things appear that ain't there, and also you can make you hear things that are not presently happening. All right? The microwave voice effect. And this is what was exactly happening with those Egyptians. Let me jump down to verse 13. It says, "And the expectation from within being less counteth the ignorance more than the cause which bringeth the torment. But they sleeping the same sleep that night, which was indeed intolerable." And they tried to sleep it off, and it wasn't working. "And which came upon them out of the bottoms of inevitable hell, were partly vexed with monstrous apparitions." This was holographic technology way before Esau even had it. This was the Most High doing those projections. "And partly fainted, their heart failing them for a sudden fear," right? "And not looked for came upon them. So then whosoever there fell down was straitly kept, shut up in a prison without iron bars. For whether he were husbandman or shepherd or a laborer in the field, he was overtaken and endured that necessity which could not be avoided, for they were all bound with one chain of darkness, whether it were a whistling wind or a melodious noise of birds among the spreading branches, or a pleasing fall of water running violently, or a terrible sound of stones cast down, or a running that could not be seen of skipping beasts, or a roaring voice of most savage wild beasts, or a rebounding echo from the hollow mountains. These things made them to swoon for fear." And this is why the Most High is to be feared. And that's why we're not to fear man. The Most High is the king of terrors for a reason. Esau, he wants that title. He wants that throne. He wants you to fear him. But all he's doing is just doing everything artificially and deceptive. So this is why the Most High is going to take him out of power, man. All right, "He who now will let until he be taken out of the way. And that man of sin be revealed, the mystery of iniquity, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and the brightness of his coming." All right. So the beast is going to get totally destroyed. Revelation 19:20 says, "And the beast was taken, and with them the false prophet that wrought miracles," all right, them strange wonders, them lying wonders before him, "with which he deceived them that had received the charagma, the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image." these both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. And that's how this devil is going to go out, man. He's going to get totally wiped out. All right, through the Lord, all right, and the angels with the laser beams coming out them ships, and also thermonuclear destruction. Okay. So, be not deceived. And that's all I really got to say, man. All right, you devils, you're not the Most High, man. And the Lord's going to show that. Matter of fact, let me end off with this one. Psalms 9 and 19 in the NLT. And it says, arise, O Yahweh, do not let mere mortals defy you. Judge the nations, make them make them tremble in fear, O Yahweh. Let the nations know they are merely human. All right. Just like he did Pharaoh. So, Lord willing, y'all were edified. And like I said, I'll put a link to this particular video in the description. Or the Corbet report, how to fake an alien invasion. All right. So with that, call Lord Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Until the next one, Shalom.